Good evening, ADHD crew. Do you know one of the things I hate most about having ADHD? It's my overactive mind. This overactive mind is very common in people with ADHD and is often why people say, "Oh, you can't have ADHD, you're way too easygoing." Well, hyperactivity isn't always external, it's actually more often than not internal, especially with inattentive type. Truth be told, people with ADHD have very sensitive minds. We're very sensitive to stimuli. So this is why it's absolutely crucial that we limit our stimulation at least 1 hour before bedtime. In this video, I'm going to guide you through what I do step by step to help me get a better night's sleep. So stay tuned and I hope this helps. One of the best supplements that I can recommend for people with ADHD is melatonin. And I've got myself a bottle here that I take every night. And melatonin is basically just a naturally occurring hormone that is produced at night to help us feel sleepy. It helps us to drift off and feel relaxed. So I find this supplement very effective, and I do notice within about 20 minutes to half an hour a nice relaxed feeling, and I have noticed that it's helped me get better sleep overall just in the last week of taking it. So step number one, and I'd say is the most important starting point, is to set an alarm an hour before you plan to actually go to sleep. You ditch all blue light devices and you put them away. Now the reason why this is so important is because you need to train your mind to get used to shutting off at the appropriate time. If you're going into your nighttime routine with the attitude of, oh, I'm going to stay up all night and do some work and then I'm going to go straight to bed after, you're setting yourself up for failure because the brain will outsmart you. I'm telling you now. The thing is, when you expose yourself to these devices, you're not giving your body a chance to adapt and register that it's bedtime. And you know what? I know how difficult it can be to stop doing what you're doing, especially when you're really involved in something you're working on. Say you're working on a project and it involves digital devices. It's hard to put it away. We tend to get hyper-focused, don't we? Question is, what do we do now? Are we really just going to lie there in bed, bored out of our skulls while we're waiting to fall asleep? It's not really effective because I think you're going to have that temptation to get up out of bed and get back to your old habits of reading things on Facebook, and it's just a bad way to go. So what I recommend is that you basically replace any digital device that you would use late at night and use something like a good old-fashioned book. Books aren't always for everybody because obviously with ADHD it's a lot harder for us to maintain concentration. And I believe that it's probably not the best bet for the majority of us, although some of us can enjoy it. You see, if there's a lot of text to get through, it's going to be quite hard on the eyes, which is going to make us concentrate more, and it's going to stimulate our brains even more. So my theory is that you want something a bit more easy on the eyes and a lot more easy to follow, which is why I recommend something like comic books or graphic novels. You're never too old. The reason why I like these is because they're fun to read, they're nice to look at, and great illustrations, nice to look at. There's not a lot of text, so that's why I think they're a great idea. Either comic books or manga books. The reason why I think these work well is because you don't have half as much text to take in and you can follow more of a picturesque story. So I believe that will allow our brains to more quickly tap into the REM sleep cycle where we can dream better. But what happens if you don't want to read? What happens if it's not really your thing? There are other options, and what I would recommend is you chuck on a pair of something like these, which are Bluetooth. I love using these for audiobooks, and you can use them through your mobile device, but you want to bear in mind that if you're going to use these devices, you want to have minimal contact with them. So if you're going to listen to an audiobook through these devices, I would put them on the other side of the room, and the Bluetooth will allow you to maintain that connection. And it doesn't even have to be a book, it could just be relaxing, chill out music, whatever you prefer, it's up to you. The key is, try to avoid anything that's going to stimulate you too much, although some things arguably might be good for your sleep, if you know what I mean. So other things that I also recommend is perhaps using some essential oils on the pillow. I like to use lavender and I find it extremely relaxing. You can also get plug-in variants of these and you can usually adjust the intensity of the scent. I also like to enjoy a cup of herbal tea at night, and I think that the natural ingredients that come in these are pretty effective, usually things like valerian root. Also, if you've seen my series on how to read with ADHD, I did mention having a set of silicone earplugs. Not only are they extremely effective at blocking out external sound, you can also mold them to the shape of your ear and they're not going to fall out while you sleep. So there we have it, guys. I hope that this has helped and I hope that you get a better night's sleep, and I'll wish you good night. See you next time.